considerable number of years by now. So I know the ins and outs. I would like to share it with you. So first and foremost, a hearty welcome to all of you. Thank you for sparing your time and being a part of this webinar. And we are really glad that you are here, you made it here. So without wasting much of time, I straight away begin. The first tip which I feel that you should know is that you have to be an avid reader. Okay. So the first thing is be an avid reader. Reading is going to help you through this. So make reading your hobby, dear children. Anything fiction, non-fiction, you should be reading good stuff almost all the time. Utilize all your free time in reading. Reading enhances your skills of writing. So make reading your hobby. I'm sure many of you are into books, are into reading books, but yes, make it more often, go in for foreign authors and make it your hobby. Anytime, like waiting for a dentist or on the airport, you always should have a book with you. And the most common question which you should be asking each other over chats and all is, which book are you reading these days? So that should be the first question which comes to your mind. Now, the next question is what to read. What should we read? So you should read books, fiction and non-fiction, obviously. So fiction books of all famous foreign authors, going for international bestsellers. And in non-fiction, you should read newspapers, journals, magazines. So whatever comes available now in your home, probably newspapers, if you have again started taking it, go in for it. Make it a habit of reading it almost every day. And if you have joined a library, online library or physical library, make it a point to go in for good magazines like Outlook or any other magazine which suffices your requirements of knowing about current affairs and all. So that is going to help you in writing reports later in the paper. Next is enhance your vocabulary. You should really pay attention to this. How to go about with it. Make a vocabulary notebook. See out the new words from reading. Whatever you have read in the past, as I told you, the first step is to read. So do not read just for pleasure, read for purpose. What is reading for purpose? Like as soon as you come across a new word, you are supposed to sieve it out from the book and write it in your vocabulary notebook, all right? And then make them your own. Make those words your own. I'm not asking you to patent them in your name, but like use them in your day-to-day language, in your day-to-day writing and language. That is how you make that new word your own. Okay, so then you bring it in your writing. It should reflect in your writing and speaking all the time. And obviously, play word games. So it's not always advisable to play video games. You should also play word games, okay? There are so many word games available. Play Scrabble as far as possible with your friends or your family members. So playing word games is going to enhance the vocabulary further. Next, punctuate your text well. Be friendly with these punctuations. Do not restrict yourself only to the basic ones of full stop and exclamation and question marks. You have to go ahead in order to get good marks in IGCSE. You have to use varied punctuations for effect. So we cannot just do with putting a full stop at the end of the sentence. We just cannot do with just a question mark and all. So the basic punctuations which you have learned in lower classes, well, that's fine, but go ahead. Use ellipses for an unfinished thought or unfinished speech. Use dashes, use colon to start a list. use semicolon instead of fanboys. And then we come to varied sentence structure. What are the various sentences you know? Like right from the beginning, you have been taught various kinds of sentences like simple, compound, and complex. Then assertive, interrogative, imperative, exclamatory. Use short sentences for your writing for effect. So see, you have to make a good mix out of all this. Not that you are only using interrogative, not that you are only using assertive more than required. You should be using all four of them. So your writing should be a good combination of all kinds of sentences which you have learned right from the beginning. And short sentences are very effective in your writing, especially one-word sentences. See, for example, think. In persuasive writing, suppose you are taking up this kind of a writing, you can even end your writing with think, a single word sentence. So that is going to persuade the reader to at least think of what all you have written, and maybe the reader is persuaded to do what you have asked them to. So these kind of varied sentence structures help you score better marks. Then comes this text structure. Obviously, your text should not look like a whole block. It should have variety. It should have short paragraphs for introduction and conclusion. It should follow the rule of starting a new topic with new paragraph in non-fiction writing. It should, like in narrative writing, your text should be like this: a new speaker, new line. So whenever you introduce a speaker, you should start it with a new line. Single word paragraphs in narrative writing for effect. Like if you want to show a turning point, or you just want to insert a dialogue, single word dialogue in a separate line in narrative writing. Discourse markers, definitely, they are very important for nonfiction writing. You should use good discourse markers to connect the paragraphs and to connect ideas within a paragraph. That is what coherence and cohesion is all about. So coherence is connecting the ideas within a paragraph with proper discourse markers like however, therefore. So these, you should be knowing that which discourse markers extend the idea, which discourse markers contrast the idea, they add more value to your writing. So coherence is ideas within a paragraph, and cohesion, I mean how to connect one paragraph to the other. So your writing should be well connected within paragraphs as well as among paragraphs. And obviously your text structure should be varied. It should look something like this, wherein there are a variety of paragraphs. So as soon as the examiner sees your work, he or she should think that, wow, I have many varieties of paragraphs to go through. It should not look like a block. Then obviously spelling and grammar is very important. So see, there are many words which confuse us, isn't it? Affect, effect, choose, chose, ensure, insure. So there are so many words around us which sound the same, but they have different spellings. Sometimes they have different spellings, but they are read in a different manner. So you should have a perfect knowledge about these homophones, homographs, and you should be able to use them properly. For example, stationary and stationary, they are homophones, but they are 180-degree different in meaning, isn't it? So stationary, ER, is that pencil, eraser, sharpener, what you carry in your pencil box. And stationary, AR, is what about a car is stationary, which is not moving. So you have to be very clear with the usage of homophones and homographs. For example, now here, I read the book yesterday. Now we pronounce this R-E-A-D as red. So that doesn't mean that you have to write R-E-D there, because sometimes it happens, no? Out of just impulse, we just write R-E-D, whatever is going on in our mind, the pronunciation, the same pronunciation we tend to write, but it's wrong. You have to be very clear about this. So I read the book yesterday. It was a good read. So we are, this is a homograph because the spelling looks the same, the pronunciation is different, but here you may tend to make a mistake because of the pronunciation. You may tend to write the wrong spelling. So you should take the help of mnemonics to learn spellings. Now what are mnemonics? Mnemonics are techniques to learn difficult spellings or confusing spellings. For example, let's take the example of stationery and stationery here. The mnemonic here to be used is that the ER stands for the eraser, because eraser also starts with ER. So remember it this way, that the ER stationery stands for the ER eraser stationery, whereas the AR stands for CAR, car. The car is stationery. So you have to devise these kind of techniques. There are many which help us remember the spellings well. And obviously grammar. You should have a correct knowledge of tenses, active passive voice, direct indirect speech, and other grammatical structures like superlative degree of adjective, and there are so many kinds of adverbs and so on. So look at this confusing word, buy. All sound the same but have different meaning altogether. So you may lose marks in spelling and grammar if you're not thorough with it. So, dear children, you have to be very clear with spelling and grammar too. Now, while writing the exams, when it comes to write the exams, what are the tips you should follow? So I hope till here you are clear with what all need to be focused before the exam. So well before appearing for the IGCSE, you should have gone through the process of being an avid reader, of having a vocabulary bank notebook, of having a clear knowledge of the various kinds of sentences, the short, the medium, simple, compound, complex, assertive, interrogative, exclamatory, all those kind of sentences. Then you should have a clear knowledge of the text structure, how to bring in variety in your text structure, how to use short sentences for effect, and how to make your text look varied in structure. And obviously, continuous practice over spelling and grammar is going to strengthen that part also, that parameter also. So once you are ready with all of these, it is time to write the IGCSE. So what are the tips for the paper? So the first paper is reading, paper 1 of 2 hours, 80 marks. That has the first question as comprehension and summary. Comprehension task is the text is of 700 to 750 words. So now you understand why I'm emphasizing on reading. You should be an avid reader. If you're an avid reader, you won't take more than 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes to go through these 700 to 750 words. All right. So this paper has 3 texts for reading. See, the name of the paper itself suggests it's a reading paper. Lots of reading has to be done here, and based on the reading, you have to answer the questions. So there are going to be 3 texts. Text A is of 700 to 750 words, and it has short answer questions. So they will be very direct. Explicit meaning should be clear to you. What is the meaning of explicit meaning? And then you have to see the keywords and answer the question. The tip here is understand the explicit and implicit meaning of words and phrases. Look for keywords in the questions and answer accordingly. So the estimated time for this question is around 20 minutes, 10 minutes for reading and 10 minutes to write. Again, paper 1 has summary 2. That's a part of question 1, but it comes in the next section. So it is of 15 marks. And here, another text has to be read. Text B. This is again of 700 to 750 words. So see, if you are an avid reader, you won't take much time to read it. And the 700 to 750 words have to be concised into 120 words based on the question. The tip here is, for summary, you are not going to use any examples, no imagery, no statistics. The content should be according to the key words given in the question. The keywords are how, when, what, where, if given. If not, then you have to again look for exactly what is the question. How did the behavior change? So change, behavior obviously, and how did it change? So you don't have to just talk about the behavior, you have to talk about the change in the behavior. So that's how, the more you practice, the more you get it, and how to identify the keyword and then work accordingly. So for summary, no examples, no imagery, no statistics. It is going to be a continuous writing, and the content should be according to the keywords. Again, estimated time is 20 minutes because it's a new text. You have to spend at least 10 minutes in reading it, and yes, 10 minutes in writing. So see, all this estimated time, the time used by you can vary. This is what I think may be used. Paper 1 now, question 2. We are done with question 1. We come to question 2, which is short answer questions and language tasks of 25 marks. So now you have to read the third text, which is of 500 to 650 words. So for question 1, you had to read 2 texts. For question 2, you have to read 1 text, and the word limit is 500 to 650 words. Now here they test your knowledge of language, that how much are you able to understand the effect of words. So the tip here is you need to understand the effect of words and answer briefly. What? The short answer question. This is divided into 2 parts, short answer question and language task. So short answer question is of 10 marks. Here they will ask you short questions. I mean, the questions which have to be answered in not more than hardly 10 to 15 words. And they will straight away ask you that what does this word imply? What is, which word tells us that the speaker was angry? Which word tells us that he was feeling disappointed? I mean, this kind of language class questions will be asked. Estimated time can be 20 minutes because obviously you have to read the text. So 10 minutes in reading and 10 minutes in doing that. Comes the language task, which carries 15 marks, again based on text C, which you have already read for the previous question. Now here you have to write. Now here comes the writing part, writing 200 to 300 words on writer's effect. And the tip is that describe in detail the effect writer intends to achieve with his words. So the words have different effect, like cry, sob, wail. They indicate the same emotion, but the effect is different. A baby can cry for a small thing, but he cannot wail over it. So you need to understand which word has what effect, what are connotations, which words signify what emotion. This knowledge is going to help you take up this question quite well. So here the estimated time is 15 minutes because you have already read the text. So now you have to straight away come to writing, which is of 15 minutes. And then comes question 3. Now question 3 in paper 1 is the extended response to reading. This again pertains to text C. So you don't have to again read it, or even if you read it, now this time it's going to be, no, you are not going to read it in detail because you've already read it for 2 questions. But here the writing part is 250 to 350 words. So writing is longer here. What is the text type? This is non-fiction writing. The text to be written should be in the form of either letter or report or journal or speech or interview article, any of these. So you have to be thorough with the format of these writing types. And the tip is use correct format for the given text type, underline the keyword and answer accordingly. Use VARP for planning. I hope you know what VARP is. It's voice audience register purpose. Like when you sit to plan, you should spend at least 5 minutes for planning that what are you going to write in the text. Before that, just spend 5 minutes in finding out that what is the voice, whose voice are you going to write in? Are you writing, or is the question asking you to be somebody and then write accordingly? Secondly, who is the audience? Who is going to read your text? That decides whether the register or the tone of the text should be formal or informal. If your audience is family, it's going to be informal. If your audience is some official, it is to be formal. So depends upon the audience. And then the purpose. What is the exact purpose of your writing? So if you do this short planning of 5 minutes just before attempting this question, it would be really good, and your answer would be well structured. And obviously appropriate vocabulary has to be used, varied sentence and text structure is going to add to your marks. Estimated time here is 35 minutes. So if you spend this kind of time, what I have estimated, you still get 10 minutes time for revising your text, your whole paper. So if you can manage it this well, you will get 10 minutes in the end to revise your paper. Next, we come to paper 2, which is directed writing and composition. It's again 2 hours and 80 marks. This is simpler. It's divided into just 2 sections. So section A is directed writing for 40 marks. This is a compulsory question, again, based on a text of 650 to 700 words. You see how much you have to read. So be an avid reader right from the beginning. And then you have to read this text. You have to sieve out the information from this text, use it, develop it, and evaluate the information in the text to create any of this, whatever would be given, whether discursive, argumentative, persuasive, any one sort of writing in the form of speech, letter, or article again. So here the tip is use a forest technique. A forest is alliteration, facts, opinions, rhetorical question, emotive language, statistics, and triple structures. I hope you know all these. If not, we'll be telling you that what exactly each one means and how using this technique is going to enhance the quality of your writing tremendously, especially in this question. Apart from this, obviously, you should use varied sentence and text structure. So estimated time here has been given as 55 minutes. You have enough time to go through the words and then write your task. And paper 2, again, section B this time. This is composition. And this is again of 40 marks. You will be given 4 titles, 2 descriptive and 2 narrative. And out of them, you have to choose any one. The tip for descriptive is use as much as imagery possible. And obviously use adjectives in abundance. Use all the degrees of adjectives. And you should also be using different descriptive approaches for the descriptive writing. Like there are many descriptive approaches. We teach all of them, coming from far to close, from middle to more. So there are many such, 8 or 9 of them. All these descriptive approaches, we have the idea, eagle eye view. You can use them in your descriptive task and get marks showered on you. And tip for narrative, obviously, give it a very catchy start. Start either with the setting or start straight with an action, start with a dialogue, and include characters, not many, give it a smooth storyline, and obviously you can either leave it in a cliffhanger or you can give it a smooth ending. All those techniques, the story graph is there. We have many techniques for narrative writing too. And obviously use varied sentences and punctuation for effect. Now, I have not mentioned vocabulary here, but yes, vocabulary is as understood as the fact that you will be writing the paper. Vocabulary, I mean, you should not be using the same word again and again. There are many words which people tend to use for many purposes. The same word for many purposes, like it was a nice day, it is a nice picture, or she is a nice person. Why is everything nice? We have so many good words. It's a picturesque view. She is a pious lady. Isn't it? It's a pleasant day. So instead of nice, you can use so many other words. Instead of good, you can use many words. Instead of happy, you can use elated. There are so many different synonyms and words which can be used for exact effect. So that is quite understood that vocabulary is an integral part of IGCSE. So right in the beginning, I told you to make a vocabulary notebook. And later in the course even, we are going to teach you how to write the words on a vocabulary meter. Vocabulary meter gives you the effect of the words, how to place the words according to their effect on a vocabulary meter so that you can use them for different purposes. All right, so this is all about it. Estimated time here is 55 minutes. And if you spend 55 and 55 on both the questions, you still have 10 minutes for revision. So students, follow this kind of technique, these tips given to you. They are really going to work wonders for you for IGCSE. And remember one thing, there is no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. You cannot take a shortcut because the board IGCSE is one of the best boards in the world, and it is here to enhance your quality of language and obviously your personality as a whole. See, for other boards, I would say, yeah, that if you start the preparation just a month before, it's fine. You can still score marks, but not for IGCSE. You have to start much in advance. So for definitely this quote holds good for any kind of effort, but specifically for IGCSE, there is no elevator to success, dear students. You have to take the stairs. So step by step, go ahead and success will be yours. Good luck, my dear students, and thank you.
Shefali ma'am, how will I thank you? Such an invaluable session. Thank you.